Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we use some Call of Duty Black Ops 3 playing a bit of Hardpoint here on the map Nuketown. And what we're going to be talking about today is actually going to be playing the objective in Call of Duty in just various ways that you can play the objective without always constantly being the person that's actually on the objective, because there's a lot of ways to actually play Call of Duty and there's a lot of contributing factors that go into a win. Some people while playing Hardpoint will just throw their bodies onto the Hardpoint itself just as a piece of meat, just throwing themselves on there like, hey, that's the objective, let's just throw ourselves on there, who cares if I go 20 and 50, as long as I'm trying to get on the hard point, I'm therefore playing the objective. That is not necessarily the case, and I want to make this video kind of talking about objectives in Call of Duty and how you can actually be an objective player without actually being the person who's securely on the objective. What's especially nice about Hardpoint is it lets a wide variety of different kinds of players to play the game and actually be able to play the objective in their own way, which is actually pretty cool. So obviously you have your Hardpoint, right? This is going to be your Hardpoint. As soon as it pops up, you're going to have everybody on your team getting near the Hardpoint, right? You got to get there, get one or two people inside the Hardpoint, therefore you can start getting points, and those points are obviously going to help your team win. But once you actually have control of the hardpoint itself, you're going to need to make sure you have people on the outside who are very good at outgunning people to try and take out the opposing team, because obviously the opposing team is going to be rushing at your hardpoint, and it's going to be up to these guys right here to try and put up a wall and try to stop them. Also importantly, we're going to need to have one or two people standing behind the hardpoint, standing in areas around the hardpoint, just random areas to try and take control of the spawn. You'll notice here on Nuketown, if you go into the backyard of the hardpoints when they're inside the buildings, your team will spawn there. Therefore, you will have a constant influx of people going into the hard point, making sure that we're the team that's getting points and the opposing team isn't. And even if our front line up here actually ends up going down to the evil red menace over here, they will spawn back here in the backyard and they'll run back into the hard point and try to establish control of it again. Then they'll go back outside and then they're going to re-up their positions and try and take out the red team some more. And if they do that for long enough and get more points throughout the entirety of the match, they end up getting the win and everybody's happy. That's the fun of hardpoint, right? That's the fun of it. Like, you have people that are just diving onto the hardpoint. Maybe they're not that good at outgunning people or whatnot. They get on the hard point, they have a shotgun, they get inside a close quarters building, they sit on the hard point itself, making sure their team gets points. You got people that are using assault rifles or light machine guns going outside the hard point to kind of make this wall barrier like between the opposing team and where the hard point is to try and stop them from actually getting in there. And then you have some really super objective players who are like standing behind the hard point, like at a known spawn point, to try and make sure that their team is spawning at that spawn point that's close to the hard point, making it so we have a constant influx of players running in there. Because I think we've all played hardpoint and had those really bad situations where like the opposing team has the control of the hard point and you go in there and you die, then you spawn back on like the opposite end of the map and you have to like trek the entirety of the map just to get back to the hard point just to try and retake it from them. It's a very key part of hardpoint to control the spawn points around the hard point itself, so your team has a constant influx of players that are going in there. It's actually a really fun aspect of hardpoint. It's one of the reasons why I like playing the game mode. The same thing can be said for Domination as well. Just about every objective game mode in Call of Duty, the same thing can be said. While you do actually need people to physically play the objective, you need that person that's carrying the uplink, you need that person that's on the B flag, you need that person that's actually jumping in the hard point. Also importantly, you're going to need people that are helping establish control of the map, and that's something I think a lot of new players to Call of Duty maybe don't understand right away. The Call of Duty multiplayer has always been about map control, right? While other FPS games may be about some different aspects, the Call of Duty one is always about map control. Like, I know Christmas just came by, and maybe a lot of people are new to Call of Duty, or maybe they haven't played Black Ops 3 yet, and they're kind of having trouble like figuring out how to adjust to the multiplayer. Just like every other Call of Duty, guys, the multiplayer is about map control, right? If you want to take control of the B flag, you don't just keep throwing bodies on B to try and take it. You actually need to kill off all the opposing players that are in the vicinity of B, making it easy for your team to walk up and take B from them, right? Map control has always been a big thing. If you're the person that's constantly like diving on the B flag in Domination, but you're not trying to take control of the area around B, you're just throwing yourself like a piece of meat at the flag and trying to take it, you're really not helping your team. You're actually feeding the other team. Like, while in these people's heads, I'm sure they're going in it with like great intentions. Like, they're going in there like, yeah, I'm trying to get B for my team, but nobody's helping me. You actually need to control the area around B. Like, let's take the map Infection for an example, Domination, right? You're in the building next to B that's like, it's got the gramophones in it, it's got the map of the Reese, like that big building right next to B, right? If you don't have control of that building, it's going to be pretty hard for you to take B, because they're just going to be able to easily take you off of the flag if they have control of that building. So constantly diving on the B while they have control of that building it's not going to help you, man. Even if you get it halfway up a couple of times, they're going to kill you off of it, and then you're just going to continuously feed them kills, which is in turn is going to have a chain effect, and it's going to continuously feed them kill streaks, right? They're going to start calling in UAVs, they're going to start calling in counter UAVs, and maybe even some of the bigger stuff later on. You never know what kind of score streaks these people are running, so it's definitely a chain reaction, right? If you want to play the objective, you need to have control of the map. That's what Call of Duty objective game modes has always been about. It's always been about controlling the map first and then playing the objective second. So if you guys can do that, it's going to help you out a lot in the long run while playing Black Ops 3. And I think maybe that's something that people are having difficulty understanding. I know when I play with random people, they definitely don't understand that, which is why it's so frustrating to play with random people. Like playing solo in Call of Duty, especially this year, like a lot of people have been talking about the skill-based matchmaking in this game and just how bad their teammates have been. Well, when you get in those games where you actually have super bad teammates, pay attention to your minimap and just kind of see like where they are, like where are they positioning themselves. A lot of time you'll notice the super bad teams that you get put on, they'll all be like clustered in one area. Like again, going back to the map Infection, like if we have the C flag, I believe it is, and it's right next to that building where people like to go up there and look out the two windows, like you'll find a bunch of people trying to camp in that window or camp the areas around there instead of actually moving up and trying to take control of the middle of the map. That's what typically bad players do, is they try to just like sit back and camp for kills. They get this idea in their head where like maybe they realize they're not that great of a player, so they think to themselves, well, maybe if I go on a kill streak, that's going to help my team. Or alternatively, they'll be an objective player, but they don't understand that they need to control the map. Then they'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep trying to get the B flag, and even if I keep losing it, well, I'm trying to help my team by trying to get the flag, you know. So a big part of Call of Duty has always been about map control. Obviously, you need those people that can play the objective, but it's always about playing the objective and playing it smart, not just constantly running at the objective. I keep using the example like a piece of meat. Like people like just throw themselves on B, like the Red Army used to do back in World War II, where they just try to like zerg you and just run as many people at you as they can. That's not typically going to be the best way to play Call of Duty, and it's definitely not the best way to play Black Ops 3. So far, in my experience, it has been try to control the area around the objective, therefore making it pretty easy for your team to play the objective, right? That's always what I've thought, and that's why I typically do here my gameplays. And heck, you guys have probably seen it if you've been a long time fan of my channel. I've been making videos here for, geez, how long has it been? Like 4 years, since 2011 or something like that. I've always tried to play that way because it's always something that's made sense to me, but now that maybe I'm vocalizing it, maybe it'll help some other people kind of get that idea where, you know, it's not all just about throwing yourself on the objective. A big part of it's also to, you know, control the area around the objective, which almost makes it sound like I'm trying to make an argument for people that just like to kill horde, like, oh, look at me, I have 70 kills, therefore I don't need to play the objective. And people always would complain about that kind of stuff. I remember for like DNA Saturday or Chem Strike Saturday or Moab Monday or Moab Friday or whatever, people would complain like, oh yeah, he got the DNA bomb, yeah, he got 70 kills, but look at him, he had 0 captures in a game of Domination. Well, do you really think he's not helping his team by having 70 kills? By having 70 kills, constantly dominating the opposing team, he's controlling the map, he's making it so the opposing team can get nowhere near the objective. It's definitely pretty nice to have a person that can get that many kills on your team. They're definitely helping secure the map. But then there's also those other times where people are just, you know, completely ignoring the objective. They're just running to the opposing team spawn, trying to get kills and whatnot, not defending flags, even though it'd be very easy for them to do so, not capturing flags, even though it'd be very easy for them to do so, because they're just worried about getting as many kills as possible. Obviously, that's a bad thing. I would never advocate that. I hate when people do that. In fact, like as somebody who's done a lot of community-driven stuff here on my channel, where people would submit stuff for DNA Saturday, Chem Strike Saturday, so on and so forth, I would deliberately not feature gameplay where people would try to ignore the objective. I don't like it when people do that. Like if I see a game where a guy gets, you know, he goes like 50-2, you know, doesn't capture a single flag, doesn't defend a single flag, just basically ignores the objective like they're the plague and is just like trying to spawn kill them basically the whole time. I don't like that kind of gameplay because they're not trying to control the map. They're just trying to run around and get kills and whatnot. They're not trying to help their team whatsoever. They're not even going anywhere near an objective. So it can definitely be said that yes, it sometimes is bad for those people that just try to kill horde the entire time, but at the same time, people that can kill horde properly by defending the areas around objectives and making it easy for their team, those are the good guys. Those are the slayers that you like to see on your team. And when you watch esports, which I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty esports, but you watch people play Call of Duty competitively and you see a slayer who is just trying to dominate the opposing team, he's going up there, he's controlling the area around the objectives and whatnot. That's the kind of person you want to be if you're not going to be the person that's diving on the objective yourself, right? So that's what I'm trying to get across in this video. That's the whole point of it, I suppose. If you want to get a lot of kills in Call of Duty, it's not that hard to do, but do so within the confines of the objective. Try to be around the objective to help out your team and try and make it so you guys can win. I've always been about winning in Call of Duty. I don't get as mad as I used to if I lose. Like I used to get so mad. I've broken so many controllers. I used to get super frustrated if I would would lose a match, and I still get mad to this day. I don't like losing at anything, to be honest. But in Call of Duty, I definitely like to win, and I try my best to win every single match that I get into. And if that means going negative, fine. If that means sitting in the back of a freaking Nuketown behind the fence, just looking at the birds while my team continuously spawns around me, because I'm basically like a freaking portable tactical insurgent at that point, then so be it. I'll do that if that helps my team win. And that's what I want to talk about today, which is playing the objective in Call of Duty, how you can help your team win. It's not always about just diving on the objective. I don't want to, again, make the argument like, oh, don't play the objective, that's silly. I'm just saying that there's a number of ways to help your team win. And it's not always just about diving on the objective, right? I want people to get out of the mindset of, as long as they're diving on the objective, they're trying to help their team. You actually need to take control of the map first, because Call of Duty's always been about map control, and Black Ops 3 is no different. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys all found it helpful and informative. And if you did, drop me a rating. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.